Okay. All right. Let's get down to business here. We have a gingerbread house to finish. Just adjust my camera a little bit so anybody who wants to see can see. And we'll get busy. Excuse me. Let me know if the music's a little too loud. How's everybody doing today? I'm bringing up my gingerbread house reference pic, so give me a second here. Excuse me. All right, let's put a little embellishment here on the sides. Amen, Dr. Soda. Thanks for showing up. All right. So, this is where we left off last time we were all together. And one of the things that I wanted to do was put candy cane pillars, excuse me, on the corners of our house. So I'm going to show you how to make candy canes real simply with a texture map. The problem with creating candy canes by some methods, which would be let's see. No, I don't need to record because everything is already being recorded. Never mind. Sorry. So the challenge with doing candy canes is you want to do a twist. Kind of like the front door here, although that's just icing. That's not a striped That's not a striped icing. That was just a kind of a twisted piped icing was the concept. But in order to just bought a 3D printer and Nomad Sculpt to learn before it arrives. Well, that is a good idea. So, ordinarily, if you wanted to create a candy cane, then what some people might try to do, I'm going to put this to turntable real quick just to lock our camera down. Some people might try to do a couple of different colors and then give them a twist, and while that's not unacceptable, the results that you're going to get are going to be varied depending on the technique that you use. So for example, I thought, well, let's do a tube. So I'd do a couple of tubes, turn on snap here so it snaps to the closest grid division. I'm going to slip into matcap mode here. And then once your tube is set up, then you would probably duplicate that. I'll turn snap off. And then maybe color one of them red. And now we've got the start. We've got the start of a candy cane, but the problem is now is it needs to twist. Okay. And that's where things get a little difficult. So I'll validate both of these, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab our tubes here. I'm going to go ahead and parent them together, and then we'll solo them so we don't see the rest of the house. So you take these tubes and you give them a twist, and you're going to find out that when you do so, that they're not going to what happens is you're going to distort the geometry. Okay, so right now the geometry are these squares that make up your model. Okay, so let's say for example that I were going to take, and let's go ahead and join these into one item. So I'll go ahead and join them. That way we can modify them as one item. And then I'll grab my selection mask and mask the top like so. I'm going to turn wireframe off because we don't need to see that. And then if we do a twist now, you'll see what happens is that it just twists right here. So what I would want to do in this case is I would take the mask and I would blur it quite dramatically. So now when it twists according to the gradient mask that we've applied. Hey Steph, just in time. Alright, so if I give this a twist, like so, you see we start getting the candy cane look, but then here's what happens in the middle. It starts to strain and stress our geometry. So it's not going to be the consistent shape of a candy cane, straight or curved. And that's the other thing, is introducing the curve here would be, I don't want to say it would be impossible, but it would be very difficult. So what I'm going to show you today is how we create a candy cane by using a texture map. Okay? Wicked. Sam, Layers and Threads, thank you everybody for showing up. We are under the gun today. This has got to be finished because I have got to push it live along with everything else. Everybody is asking me where my Christmas stuff is, and I'm like, well, it's out there. Didn't you see it? And that's a bold-faced lie. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay down. Now I'm going to show you a curved candy cane. We're not necessarily going to use a curved candy cane, but I want to show it to you nonetheless. And then I'm going to make a straight one for my the four posts of my house. So let's get our basic candy cane shape out here. Alright, that's good enough to show you the concept. And we'll turn snap off. And then we'll thicken this up a little bit. Maybe move it in. This is a very generous candy cane. Tell you what, we don't need to be that thick. Let's go ahead and thin it down a little bit. Okay. So, here's our candy cane. We're going to switch out of paint mode and go into matte cap mode. I'm blessing the first 5 people who message me alive. God bless you all. Well, thank you, Troy. Appreciate that. All right. So, let's up our topology here. Give it a nice fine mesh that we can work with in our wireframe. How was everybody's Thanksgiving? Did you all have a good one? Mine was pretty good. Not gonna lie. All right. Once this is done, I'm gonna go ahead and validate it. Hi, Darkness Fire. Thank you for joining us. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and apply a texture to this on the opacity. Now I've gone ahead and created a candy cane stripe mask. It's got alternating thicknesses on the stripes. So a wide stripe, narrow stripe, wide stripe, narrow stripe. And that's pretty much what it looks like by default. Okay, coming out here. Now what we've done is we've applied it to the opacity channel of our textures. I'm going to drill into the details here. We're going to add some scale here. So I'm going to take it up to about, maybe about 2.5. Should be good. All right. Now that'd be fine. Nice and quiet. Found out my day. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, I am. That's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I hope you said it came back, so it went away once. I hope it goes away again. All right, now I made a mistake. I'm going to backtrack here. I was talking and not thinking what I'm doing. I want to stay in my tube edit mode, okay? So we're not going to validate this just yet. We're going to apply our opacity mask to the tube while it's in edit mode. All right, let's go ahead and scale it up. Again, to about 2.5. Now you can twist this here too. You can put a little bit of rotation on it here, but it's not going to give you the desired outcome that you want. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come over here. Esophageal. Oh, yikes. Working in Germany. Be doing treatments there. All right. Well, my prayers go out to him and your family, of course. And I hope, like I said, I hope he can get it into remission again, or just eradicate it completely from his body. So I'm going to turn on starting and ending twist, and what I'm going to do now, because this texture is applied in a UV manner along the polygons, and I'll turn polygons back on so you can see, it's following the polygons as a UV texture would. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this geometry a twist on one end, and we're just going to grab this end here and give it a twist. All right. Now, I didn't change the texture. I just twisted the geometry, which is being used as a reference point for the UV texture that we applied in the opacity channel. And I'm kind of liking that, so I think what we'll do now is we have to validate our shape now for our next step. So I'm going to validate it. I'll turn the wireframe off since we don't need to see that. And then we are going to come over here to miscellaneous under our remesh panel, multi-res voxel. This is typically where we do our remeshing and our multi-resing. Come over here to miscellaneous, and you'll see down here we can reproject this texture that we've applied onto the vertex from itself and basically create a mask. Okay. Now, we'll jump back over here, and we'll remove this texture on the opacity because we don't need it anymore. And just for some cleanup, I'm going to turn off the grid. I'm going to grab my mask tool, set it to unmask, and I'll do a little cleanup right here. Just get rid of this on the ends because we don't need it. Now from here you probably know the drill because we've done this a number of times. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to our mask extraction. And we'll lift that up a little bit above the surface. I'm going to pull that smoothing down a little bit. And you know what? Just to make sure that we've got a good wire mesh underneath there, I'm going to up the resolution of this mesh. And then we'll smooth it. And then we'll re-hit it with the extraction. And then we will hit extract, which, as you've known again from the past, that creates our new geometry. And just so you can see it, I do that every time. I am going to go ahead and paint that a nice red color. And there you go. Instant candy cane. Now you can vary the look depending on how you want it to look. Obviously by widening or narrowing your stripes. But that's how you create a candy cane. And I did do a quick little instructional video. It's a time lapse, so you'll see it in fast motion. And there's so much more that you can do with textures. This is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, if you will, the nomad iceberg. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of that because this is not the candy cane that you are looking for. Nope. We're going to put a candy cane here on the posts of the house. All right, I'm going to switch grid back on to make sure our tube goes straight up and down. Turn on snap. It's going to start about here and probably end about there. And then go ahead and execute that. There we go. What's baking do? It makes some wonderful cookies, or in this case, gingerbread. Baking, we didn't actually use baking. We're going to go through the process here again. We did what's called reprojection from an existing texture onto the surface as a mask. Okay, so let's go back to the top. I'm going to turn X-ray on. We're going to get out of paint mode because we're not ready to paint just yet. I'm going to put it over here on the corner. Turn snap off. It's going to sit right about there. Now we'll turn X-ray off and just look at our alignment. And it might be a little beefy. Let's go ahead and tone that down. The size of it, if you will. There we go. I like that better. All right, turn X-ray back on. Let's lock our view. All right, there we go. And we will shave the top of that. I think we'll have to make it accommodate our roof when we set our roof on top of the house. What happened down there at the bottom? That's kind of odd. Oh, got a couple of extra points here we don't need. There we go. All right. So, back to our candy cane technique. Once again, I'm going to go in here to our materials. On the opacity channel, we're going to apply our candy cane stripe. Now I want these stripes to be kind of wide, so I can diminish the scale if I want. Put it right about there. And then I'm going to increase our topology. Increase the wireframe polygon count so it's a nice smooth shape when we give it its twist. We're going to go over here to twist. I'm enabling the starting and ending position of the twist because if I have just one twist, it's going to twist. Whoop, that's not what we wanted. It's going to twist the whole thing, saying there won't be any twist along the axis. So if we turn on a starting and ending twist, now it'll stay the same up here and then twist from the bottom or the top. Whatever you want. Okay, that's probably enough. I like that, so we're just going to go ahead and go with that. I'm going to up my topology a little bit more. And we'll validate that shape. And then come over here to our... I don't know what you call this panel. What is this panel even called? I just call it the remesh panel. But there's a ton of stuff that you can do in here. In this case, of course, again, we're going to reproject from our texture map onto the surface to create a mask, and then we'll go back here and we will eliminate our starting mask. And let me double check our mesh. Yeah, we're gonna up the density of our mesh here. And now we'll go back to our mask tool and we'll hit, oops. I've got X-ray turned on, that's my bad. Tell you what, we'll just solo it, so we're just working with that portion. I didn't erase the mask on top, but you know what, you don't have to, because like I said, we're going to wind up trimming that anyway. And then we're going to smooth it a little bit. Again, don't worry about the top. And I like that, so we're just going to go ahead and extract it. And then we'll run out into our paint here. I'm going to clear the mask. And let's just hit it with some red. See if it looks the way that we want. Back out, take a look. Yeah, I like that. Hey, Desert Sand, thanks for showing up. Good to see you. Been a while. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this candy cane and we're going to put it on all four corners of our house. We've already got it on one. So let's go ahead and name this. I think we got a lot of stuff that we need to name. Oh no, actually we named it last time we did this, didn't we? Alright, so we'll call this, I'm just going to merge these two pieces together actually. And then we'll call it corner cane. Just in case we do a candy cane somewhere else. I don't think we will, but just in case, you never know. Alright, so there it is. We're going to clone it. I'm going to move it back here. And let's see, we'll clone it again. Whoop. Gotta use the arrows, keep everything level. And we'll clone it one more time. Move it to the front. Now I'm going to go on the top of our house here. And we'll turn on X-ray. Lock our view down and just double check that all of our candy canes are on the corner of our house, and it looks like they are, so we are good to go there. Okay. There's a recent update, if you didn't know, to Nomad. And one of the things that it does now, I'm not too happy about it, to be honest with you. I'm in trackball mode. As long as you're in turntable mode, so let me explain something here. Turntable, it just turns like it's on a turntable. You can't rotate the screen, okay? It just stays like this. All right. Which is a good way to navigate. And then when you lock down your view, it doesn't move at all, either on the turntable or by rotating the screen. What was changed, though, is if you're in trackball mode. Now, trackball mode gives you the ability to rotate, the normal turntable moves along with rotation like this, which is very handy. But what I don't like to see is when I go into a side view and I lock that down, okay, the moment I put 2 fingers on the screen and go to move it, it rotates it out of its lock. So it still stays on the side view or whatever view you locked into, but I just rather it lock everything. And I don't know if that's a preference I need to set. Like I said, I need to do some research or what, but yeah, that's I'm not a fan. Now I wonder if I lock it in a view like this. Yeah, see, it still allows me to twist it. It won't rotate in the turntable sense. This app is Nomad Sculpt. Chillin' with Stir Fry, like your profile name. Very creative. Nomad Sculpt. It's on the Apple Store and I believe the Google Play Store for Android at $20. Can't beat it. Okay, so I think what's next is we need to put some gumdrops along the side of our house. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to do a little gumdrop landscaping. Let's create a gumdrop, shall we? I think we'll use the lathe for this. Do we need to? No. Do I want to? Yes. Is that what we're going to do? Yeah, absolutely. All right, right here on the center of your screen is your lathe center line, so that's where we're going to work from. And I'm going to use my path tool. Now, I know I've said this before. You can use the curve tool and just lay out your shape, right? And then switch to the path tool and clean it up, if you like to work that way. I don't know what's going on here. I'm adding extra points. Let me zoom in. There we go. Now you want to pay attention. You want to pay attention to where that center is, because if you lathe it here, part of your profile is going to be on the other side. Ah, goodness sakes. There we go. So put that profile line right on the edge of your, or that lathe rotation line right on the edge of your profile, and then just lay your profile out where you want it. This is a new thing, too, that the new update of Nomad does. Before, you had your starting and your ending point, and then if you wanted to add points, you'd have to do it in between those two. Now, if I just touch anywhere I touch, it'll create new points, which actually is a better way, but I got used to the old way, so this is the reason you see me adding extra points, is because I'm not used to the way that we're doing things now. All right, so you get your profile lined up the way that you want, and you just tap the green button, and there you go. Instant gumdrop, or at least the beginning of one. All right, now, because we're still in edit mode, I'll lock that down so it stops moving on me. We can go ahead and change the shape a little bit. And I'm going to switch out of pane into matte cap mode. All right. And then when you get it where you want, we've got caps on the front, on the top and bottom. So what that means is there will be no holes in our gumdrop. If you want a hole for whatever reason, just turn the cap off or on, and it'll cap one end or both ends or no ends. All right. That seems to be a good gumdrop shape, so I think we'll go ahead. Let's go ahead and up our topology. And move this over to the house. I'm going to scale it down a little bit. Put some in the snow here alongside the edge of the house. Vision, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Now, we could create individual gumdrops. There would be nothing wrong with that. But why not use the tools that we have at our disposal? And that would be, in this case, we're going to do an array. Okay. I could do a curve. Actually, a curve might be a better idea. Let's do a curve. All right. So I'm going to go from this side. You know what? I don't know if it'll be a better idea or not, but we'll find out. I'm going to stretch this curve down, and I'm going to pull it over here. And the reason is because the additional gumdrops I make will be between these two. Okay, I'm going to grab one of these gumdrops and realign the center point, and then I'm going to set that to a 90-degree snap, so when I tip it up, it goes straight up and down. Okay, all right, so there's our gumdrops. Now we're going to go back. I think my music might be a little loud. Let me turn that down just a smidge. Okay. Now we're going to grab the curve. And in between the curve, you can see we have 2 total gumdrops. Now we're going to start adding them by upping the count. And there we go. Now the cool thing is, right now they're in a perfect straight line, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because this is made by humans. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little dot here, a little dot there. And I was hoping that it would not tip them on their side like that, but it looks like it is. So let's look at it from the side. See what we go. Oh, that's why. Our curve just kind of went and did its own thing. Let's turn X-ray off so we can see. Oh, we need to flatten the curve for obvious reasons. I'm going to lock this view down. So let's pull these points down. Back into the snow where this curve belongs. And now the cool thing is by altering, I should say, the path of this curve. Whoop, I had another point there. We don't want that. We want this to be a gentle undulation. You can see the gumdrops now kind of following the surface of the snow without going through, and this is Nomad Sculpt. Without going through and individually moving each gumdrop, we're now able to, to do this a lot more quickly. And same thing with the overhead view. Now that we will need X-ray for, so let's go ahead and lock our view and then just situate these a little bit away from the house. Not too far. I just want a little irregularity in the positioning of these is the reason that we've done this. Now, if you really want to get crazy, and I don't know that we need to use this, but I'll show you another little technique or another part of this tool. There's a randomize feature over here. If you turn on randomize, you can see it already happening. I'm going to turn X-ray off. It'll randomize everything from the... Sorry, let me pin that open. Oh, we can't pin them open. All right. We can randomize the size. We can randomize the rotation, the position, the scale. So the only thing that I really want to randomize is the rotation. So let's go ahead and turn off translation. And then it's 30% right now, deviating away from the original. I'm going to back that down to maybe 7%. And now you can barely see it, but you can see a little bit of randomness in how they rotate. Okay, which is exactly what we want. All right, what else I want is I want to bring these up just a little bit. Now the cool thing is we've got this set up, so what we can do now is we can transfer or make a copy of this and put it on the other side of our house and go back into the randomized panel. Okay, I want to pull these away. Let's see. And then I'm going to rotate that one just. I'm going to turn off snap. And we'll just rotate a little bit so it's a little more straight up and down. Okay, there we go. And now because this is all part of a repeater, if we're like, yeah, those gumdrops are just a little big, we can scale them down. Sorry, that's scaling. I think that's scaling the whole curve. Scale down one of the objects and the rest of them follow, but maintain their distance from each other. Or maybe I like how wide they are. I just want to make them a little shorter, so I would scale them on the Z axis. Now the other thing that I want to do is to make it look like these things were actually placed in, in the frosting. There'll be when you push something in the frosting, it's going to make a little bit of a dam around it. So I'll just grab my mask tool, and I'm sorry, not my mask tool. We'll use the inflate tool. I'm going to turn the intensity down, make the brush size kind of small, and then we're just going to come in here and lift the snow a little bit around. Around our gumdrops. And now we need trackball, so we're going to switch back into trackball mode. This is Nomad Sculpt Firefly, running on an iPad Pro. It does run on Android, and I just got the desktop version, which they've just released. And just got my Wacom, my new Wacom Cintiq 24 Touch set up. And we might try streaming, doing our next live stream. Well, next week's live stream. Or tomorrow if I get time to get it on my desk. It's pretty big, so I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to film it. Is it like Fusion? No, it's nothing like Fusion. It does use similar 3D modeling concepts, polygons and things like that, but it is what I would call more of an artistic sculpting tool. Fusion 360, or Fusion 3D as they now call it, is more aimed at functional prints, CAD prints, although I do some functional stuff with Nomad Sculpt as well. And I do use Fusion 360 as well. But no, I would say this is more for character and organic type modeling, whereas Fusion is much more geared toward, not that you can't do soft body or organic type modeling in it, but it's definitely geared for more for industrial hard body or hard surface modeling. And it does a good job of that too. All right, I'm just smoothing out our snow a little bit here. All right, so now our gumdrops don't look like they're just sitting on the surface. All right. And they're all white. Nothing wrong with that. We'll colorize them here in a little bit. And I'm trying to stay within a somewhat, I don't want to say limited, but smaller color palette, so people that don't have multiple AMSs can still print these out successfully. Okay, what do we got here? I'm thinking we're going to put a line of gumdrops across the back and then on the other side. So let's go in here to our panel. That is, let's see, this is our gumdrop. Let's name it accordingly. Sorry, need a little drink there. Okay, so there is our original gumdrop. And there's the curve it's attached to. So we're going to clone this curve. I'm sorry. We're going to clone the curve and the gumdrops. And we're going to go to the top. We're going to select our new set of gumdrops. We're going to move them to the other side. Okay, and we'll just slide them over there like this. And for some reason they dropped down. Not exactly sure why. I tell you what, let's do that again. I'm going to go for the curve and the gumdrop, and then we will clone it. Something moved by accident. And then we'll move it. No, it did it again. How about that? Interesting. Oh, the pivot point has been moved. Now it'll move straight across. There we go. All right, so here's our gumdrops on this side. Let's move them down a little bit into the snow. Whoop, a little further. There we go. And they're exactly on the other side of the house, same as the other ones were. Now, again, for that irregularity or that asymmetry, what I'm going to do, excuse me, I'm going to switch out of paint mode. And we'll go in here and mess around with our curve a little bit to apply a little bit of, again, asymmetry to our gumdrop positioning. So if somebody is, critical enough, they can look at your model or your print and go, oh yeah, looks different on both sides. Wow, this must have taken forever. To which you say, yep, it sure did. All right, I don't know why, but I got a couple of points in here. There we go. All right, let's make sure that it follows the curve of our snow. So I'm going to turn X-ray off. We'll lock our view. And here it goes down a little bit and comes up a little bit. And I think we're good right there. And then we got randomize turned on, so let's go ahead and randomize it a little more just by punching that randomize button. And now we're guaranteed that the rotation is a little different than the other side. Looks good. Grab our inflate tool. This app is called Nomad Sculpt. All right, and we're going to sculpt around our gumdrops here. Raise that snow up a little bit. Just lift it up a little bit so it looks like stuff was pushed into the frosting. And don't worry if you get a little too extreme. We'll smooth it out with our smooth tool here in a second. And I gotta say, if you haven't worked in Nomad, it's very successful in what it produces as far as prints go. For those of you who haven't seen it, there are videos on my profile showing the Holiday Express train that we just wrapped. It's in a couple of stores. There's actually a couple of people here locally that have 3D print stores in malls. So I've put it out there, and it's getting rave reviews from the store owners and people that are getting to see it for the first time. And then this is actually something that I'm printing right now. This is one that if you were here a couple of weeks ago we were working on. This is our stuck Santa, stuck in the chimney. My wife wanted one, so I, of course, had to print her one. But there it is. And we're printing the bottom half right now that has the rest of the chimney and the which is a container. So speaking of functional prints, excuse me, I think it was Firefly that was talking about Fusion. If you're good at getting your clearances set correctly, then you can obviously create stuff that is functional within Nomad Sculpt as well. Now, not to millimeter precision that you can in Fusion or some other CAD programs, but again, we're not looking for millimeter precision here. We're just looking for things that function correctly. So anyway, there's that guy. And again, I bring that up just because I know some of you watched me make that. You keep having issues with extracting the mask the right way. I did see your video, but it had a little piece of the video cut off. Mask extraction. All right, so if you can tell me specifically what you're having issues with, I might be able to walk you through it here real quick. Just do a quick side tutorial while we're doing this stuff. Don't tell Steph, though, because I know she wants me to finish this house. She has been on my case. Oh, when's that house going to be finished? Come on, Dragon. Let's get it done. Extracting the mask. All right, we should probably save. Yeah, so when I go in and mask an object, I go into the extract feature and it either blows up, okay, blows up. The extractor part, I don't know if I fill it, split it, or leave it. Okay. Well, so that is I kind of get a little bit what you're saying. So let's see if we can I'm going to go ahead and save this again. Actually, you know what I should do? Should have done it last time. We should save a let's see. Holiday 2025 gingerbread house 5. Oh, 5. There we go. Similar to when you made the snow on the chimney. Okay. Well, all right. Let's use that as our example then. So real quick, like let's open up our base project here. All right. Let's get rid of that, and we need to add a box. We'll use the box because that's what the chimney was. We'll increase the topology. I'm not going to do all the bricks and everything like we did before. That won't be necessary. What I am going to do is I'm going to lift this up on the Z-axis so it's right there on our grid. All right, so using that same, let's go ahead and set up our chimney. I'm going to grab our mask selection tool. We will draw a rectangle right here. And then we will mask it. And then we will flip the mask. And then I'm going to check and make sure it didn't go all the way through. And it did. It's my bad. Filter. We are only going to go on the front-facing vertex. Reset. And once again, draw our mask. And I'm showing you two techniques here, folks. Nomad Sculpt does not have a way to extrude push and pull faces by default. So the way you can cheat it is by using masks. Everything that I have masked now will be affected by whatever tools I use. All right, I'm going to flip the mask by touching the screen outside of the object. I'm going to turn on trackball. All right, and now with the gizmo tool, only this part here will be affected. As such, I can do an extrusion, turn off post-process, it always comes on, and I can push this up or down however I choose to make a quick box. Okay? All right, let's go back to our mask. I'm going to clear all. I'm going to up our resolution just a little bit. Usually like to work over 350 or higher. All right, so there's our chimney. This is, again, Vision 3D Creations. This is what he was talking about. So what I did was I did a ring of snow, which you can see right here, around the top of our chimney. And the same technique, by the way, was used to create the fur around his boots, etc. Basically what we're going to do, you could lay a tube up here and then validate the tube and twist and pull the geometry with your move and drag tool, which isn't a bad way to do it, but this way's faster. And I always look for the most efficient way to do things. So I'm going to use my mask tool, and I am just going to paint. Let's increase the size of our brush a little bit. I am just going to paint snow on the top of my chimney, like this. All right, make it look however you want. You want a little snow just on the corner? Just put it on the corner. I'm going to do snow all around the perimeter. And then we'll take snow off. All right, so I'm going to continue around here. However you get the mask here, you can get the mask here by way of using the mask tool. You can use stencils. You can do it however you want. As long as the end result is the same, and that is you get your mask on your object. Okay? Now, once the mask is in place, all you need to do, stumbling over my own words here, is go to your extraction, mask extraction, or settings mask, as it's now called. I've got the panel pinned open. As soon as you close the panel, it goes away, but it's pinned open. So it stays here as we do our adjustments. And if I click here and want to move and look at it from another angle. Okay, the black that you see here, or the dark brown, is our mask, which is underneath the geometry. I set it to plus and minus, so it goes above and below the surface, and that's very... post-process allows you to, when it comes to doing more artistic renderings, you can turn on all kinds of things. Reflections, global illumination, ambient... I mean, there's all depth of field, bloom. This is something that you want to play around with if you're using this to create imagery. I'm not. I'm using it to create... just to create geometry, so I can print it or do whatever. All right, so... all right, trying to zoom in and out here. Now, here's the cool thing. Once this is applied and you've got your mask settings turned on, hold on. TikTok needs to make sure I'm still here. You can continue to use your mask tool to tweak and add, to add areas to your geometry as you see fit. Now, you can still see the mask here on the corners, which tells me it's not thick enough. So I'm just going to increase the thickness. Okay. I can make it really thick, so it was a heavy snow. Or I can make it just, a little thick. I like to go in between. Now you've got kind of squared off edges here. You can leave it that way and use your smooth tool if you want. You can also use the smoothness in here. And again, play around with these settings. It's really up to you how you want it to look. You can do sharp borders, so it'll smooth everything here, but then at the edge of the mask it'll leave a sharp border, which again, not really desirous. Or you can I'm not sure what borders only does. I haven't played around that much with that. I'm going to turn grid off. It's getting in the way. But again, for my use, I use smoothness on all faces. Okay. And then once you get it the way you like, now there's different settings here, and again, you'll have to play around with them to kind of get your head around what they do. There's a fill option. There's a none option. Again, I'm not sure what it does. And there are little tips and hints here. If you hit the button, it'll show you what it does. But I use it just as a shell, and pretty much leave everything at shell, and leave it all, which is pretty much the default setting. And then when you get it where you want it, you hit extract. All right, and I'll turn on X-ray, and you'll see we now have new geometry. Yes, all my settings are set to show. All right, so we have, again, we have new geometry apart from our chimney. There's our original chimney with the mask still intact, and there's our snow. Now I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to turn X-ray off, and show you again. If I decide, at some point I want to get rid of the snow on one of these corners, just turn off, set my masking tool to unmask, and now I can come in here and adjust the mask. And the geometry will follow. This is Nomad Sculpt, running on an iPad Pro. And let's say we leave snow there, we get rid of it here. There's just a little bit up here. I don't like that. Looks unnatural. Alright, so I'm going to leave the snow on the corner, because that's just how I roll. Alright, it's not undoing, so whoop. So I'll just go ahead and remask this portion here. Add that geometry back in. Alright. Can I teach you if you pay me? Well, if you want to pay me, nobody's ever asked me that before. I've been asked if I have tutorials, which I do, and I'm making more all the time. The real original user, if you want to send me a DM, let's talk about what your needs are. Actually, anybody that has a desire for a tutorial series, please shoot me a DM, let me know, and maybe what I can do is some structured classes on my Discord server apart from here, which I'm not streaming there today only because something happened with my setup. I got to research it and fix it. But yeah, if you want to reach out, if I get enough interest, then I'll set up some sort of formal tutorial teaching program. And I'd be happy to pass on the knowledge that I have. I have over 30 years modeling experience. Not to brag, but I just do. And I've only been working with Nomad for about 6 months, but 3D knowledge translates no matter where you get it from. So, but yeah, I'm definitely open to the idea of creating a teaching series. But the thing that you have to understand is these things take time. And if nobody's interested, I'm not going to waste my time, because there's a lot of stuff on Nomad out there already. But if you like me, you like my style, then, obviously I'm not for everyone, but I am for someone. So, again, if you're interested, let me know, and I'll see what I can do about organizing some sort of a formal teaching series. I was learning Procreate through Mighty. She teaches, lives, and records. Yes, I'm getting better at recording my stuff, and that's the results that you see on my YouTube channel. I'm just doing shorts and TikTok videos, and on Instagram. But I also do have all of my models are available for purchase, and I do have a membership. Maybe that's something I need to look into, is do a Patreon where I do formal training, like in a group setting. Yeah, so like I said, there's many different ways that we can do this. Yeah, absolutely, Vision. Let me show you how I finish this off. Again, if you're interested in what we're talking about, then please let me know, and we'll see what we can come up with. All right, so I'll go ahead and extract. And again, now my geometry is its own geometry. And then, now this is when you can get kind of creative. I'm going to up the resolution of my wireframe on the snow. I'll grab my smooth tool, and I'll just come in here and smooth the edges out a little bit. I'm going to put the intensity up about 150. And maybe increase my brush size. And make this look even more organic. Okay. And then, if you know anything about snow, it's not always, I mean, sometimes it is, but usually it's not perfect. So if you want to add a little bit of irregularity in the shape of your snow, then what I do is I grab any of my modeling or sculpting tools here. My favorite is the inflate tool. And then we're going to turn the intensity down, and we'll just come in here and add a little irregularity by inflating the surface at various points. Just add a little bumpiness to it. Again, nothing too dramatic. Alright, so there we go. And then I'll smooth out the inside corner here. Alright. It's looking more snow-like all the time, at least as far as I'm concerned. And I would be an expert because I live in Chicago, and we just got a foot of snow. So I spent the entire weekend shoveling and scraping and salting, and yeah, I'm kind of a snow expert. Jeremy, this is the most recent one. I just got it this spring, I think it was. Don't ask me what chip is in it. I think it might be the M2 or M2 chip. I got a new laptop and a new iPad, and I know this is the most recent one because I was sculpting at 4 to 6 hours at a time, and the old iPad was heating up quite a bit. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I should probably sell it while I can get something for it before I burn it up. I'm going to turn solo off. We're going to go into paint mode. I'm going to turn X-ray off. And then the last thing, of course, is to add some color to our chimney. So we'll paint that. I'm going to up the roughness because it should look like brick. And then paint our snow. And snow is not shiny, so leave it right about there. And there you go. That is how we make snow. Rachel, thank you. Appreciate the follow. And, you know, like I said, I've been doing this for over 30 years. And I've done a lot of things in between. And I came back to this because this is where I feel like I can have the most fun, you know, for me. And, of course, be an inspiration to others to help them be better modelers and creatives. And then, of course, we put a brick texture on this, which it was a bump map, and that's how we got the bumps on our chimney. And I used the same technique that I just showed you here for the buckles on the boots, for the snow or the fur around the top of the boots, and for the sole on the bottom of the boot. All was created using the mask extraction technique. So there you go. All right, we're not going to save that because we don't need to. And we're going to go back to our gingerbread house. It's very calming. Well, thank you. I have been called the Bob Ross of 3D printing. I did not give myself that name. I've had a few people give me that name. So I try to lean into that because I think we all need a little bit of calm and relaxation in our day. Now, you know what's interesting? I did this as two separate curved repeaters on the sides here. I actually could have done a single one all the way around, but hindsight's 20/20, as they say. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate our curve here on this side. I'm going to clone it. And I think, let me double check. Yes, everything is aligned this time, so let's go back to the top. I'm going to turntable. I'm going to lock our view down. And I'm going to grab my gizmo and move this line. We'll snap it to 90 degrees so I can turn it sideways. And we're going to have a few more gumdrops across the back here. Let's see. What app you're using. This is Nomad Sculpt. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. All right, I'm going to switch back into point edit mode, and we are going to turn on X-ray so we can see through everything, and I'm going to pull this end gumdrop here where it needs to be. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. Not sure what happened there. Something twisted, I think. That's all right. We'll fix it when we get out. Okay. sure what happened there. Let's turn X-ray off so we can see. I'm going to turn paint off. Looks like something twisted my gumdrop. I hate when my gumdrop gets twisted, so let's just twist it back. I'm going to turn snap off, and we'll put it right back where he needs to go. We're going to bring him down. Put him in the snow. Thank you for the follow, Instant Forage. Appreciate it. All right, now let's go back to our curve. All right, again, I want to follow. Whoop. Just want that. All right, I'm going to lock our view, and I'm going to again follow the curve of the snow here. So I'm going to bring this up here. Grab this point. We'll bring it down. Bring this one down. I'm tempted to put another point in the middle there, but I really don't want to. There we go. Let's go back to the top. Lock it down. Turn on X-ray. All right, as you can see, our gumdrops are coming dangerously close to the edge here, so let's just back them in a little bit. Looks like I do need another point here. Okay. And okay. There we go. All right, I think that should be good. If not, we might have to work our base a little bit there. Got a little room to the back of the house. Let me turn. Yeah, see, I'm looking at the roof, and that's not where it needs to be. So let's go ahead and move it back a little bit more. Okay, turn X-ray on. I need that curve. All right, I'm going to move these in a little bit now that I know I've got room to do so. Right here's the edge of our house. I was looking at this line here. That's the edge of our roof. So as long as we don't bump up against the house, we'll be fine. Okay, I think that should be good. Let's turn X-ray off. Yep. ZBrush. I have used ZBrush. I will say that the learning curve is a little steeper with ZBrush. It does have, in my opinion, a lot more power. But for the average user, I think this is. I think Nomad Sculpt is pretty powerful for what you can do with it. So. Because everything I'm doing nowadays is in Nomad Sculpt. So if that tells you anything. Oop, don't need that extra point there. Okay, and we flipped them all over on their heads. Fortunately, I know how to get them back where they belong. Okay, everything moved on me. I did just pick up a Wacom 24-inch Wacom Cintiq 24 multi-touch. $20 for a license. And I did get the desktop version of Nomad Sculpt, so we will be putting that through its paces with the Wacom multi-touch. Hopefully next week. If I can get to it sooner, I've set it up and started playing with it, then maybe I'll surprise you guys later this week and we'll do a live stream with the Wacom. Riker, yeah, here's an example of something that we just got the bottom half on the printer right now. Stuck Santa, it's a container, so obviously this is the lid. And then it's got a base with the rest of the chimney, and then a space to stand one of my penguin sculpts, the elf and the Santa version. This is our Halloween version, so disregard the ghost costume. Confusing people. Bird teeth, thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, let me see here. I need to rotate this a little bit, and then we're going to drop it into the snow like we did before. Okay, I think that's good. Yes, and you know this is a lid here too, this Vision. I don't know if you remember that or not. This is a hinged lid that will print flat and make it that much easier to print without all those supports. In fact, this should be very support light. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab our inflate tool and did like we did before around the other gumdrops. And again, make it look like they've been pushed into the snow and not that they're just sitting on the surface. Yeah, I've made plenty of hinges in other modeling softwares like Fusion 360, or like I said, Fusion. It's now Fusion 3D, not 360. So I know the clearances that are necessary for a successful hinge. So I would just suggest keep trying, keep making stuff, keep breaking it. I've broken a lot of stuff that I've made. Usually not intentionally, or out of a fit of frustration. Just, you know, support's a little too sticky, or there's not enough clearance. Yeah, Fusion's a bit of a hike on the learning curve. I'm not going to lie. But if you have a need for functional 3D modeling, it is definitely one of the leaders in the industry. And that statement was brought to you by Fusion 3D, which is now on sale at your I'm kidding. I'm new to your talk, but I'm about to go through all your videos. Just ordered 2 new printers. Phil, thank you for joining us. I am out here at least once a week. I've got a bunch of links. I should probably, let's see, hold on. I do this at least once a stream. So if you come here, right here at the top of my profile, there's a link tree. And this is all of my links. I have more links I need to put in here. But these are the ones that I have now. Patreon. Patreon just directs traffic over to my mini factory, at least for now. But I have people asking me for tutorials, one-on-ones, and things like that. So I am going to think about how to construct or set that up. And probably start offering one-on-one training. But yeah, this will get you started. Our Discord is free. Well, there's a portion that's paid, but it goes with the tribe members from my mini factory. They have a little bit more access when it comes to what we're doing with our model lines and making suggestions and things like that. And if you join our tribe on my mini factory, you'll get access to that part too. But there's still plenty of things that can be, done through the rest of our server. We have an area devoted to Nomad Sculpt. Just me and one other person are the only people contributing right now, which is fine. I'm not hurt at all. I'm kidding. And then we have areas devoted to different types of printers. I've been 3D printing for, how long have I been at this now? 13 years? And I've been modeling and working in the 3D space for 30 plus years. I'm kind of old. Yeah, it's free. Why not, right? I'm not out there all the time. I'm going to be honest. And if I'm not and there's other people there, then, I'm not the only one that can answer questions. So yeah. All right, there's our gumdrops all around the base. And as Megan Trainor says, it's all about the base. At least right now. All right, so we got gumdrops all the way around. What else do I want to do here? I feel like I want to do something on the roof. I want to do... what do I want to do on the roof? let me go out to my gingerbread reference pictures on the internet and see what they did on their roofs. Okay. All right, kind of a sporadic gumdrop thing. I'm trying to work within the color palette. So right now we've got black, white, red, green, and brown. That's 5 colors. I'm trying to keep it within... I think I may have to add yellow, though. So we're going to have a 6-color. It'll be a 6-color model. Yeah, I think that's what I need to do. All right. So on that note, we've got some snow on the roof. I'm trying to find... See, most of the roofs on the references that I'm looking at have... If they have gumdrops, they're covered with snow, and kind of like what we did around the base here. Not sure that's the way I want to go. Another thing we do is like an M&M's candy type of... yeah, let's do an M&M's candy. Why not? Melts in your mouth, not in your hand. Or on the gingerbread house. And I'm thinking I want to put a little bit of texture on our house panels themselves. And I think I need to make a version of this where, again, my little penguin guy... Actually, you guys haven't seen... I don't know, some of you have, but some of you probably haven't. Let me go ahead and save this guy. And then I'll show you our holiday penguin. We have a couple of them. I'm going to go to our penguins collection. So we have Santa. All right. There's our Santa penguin. And then we have, wouldn't be Santa if he didn't have some helpers. So then we have our elf penguin. My wife is a nut for penguins, so these were created for her. I do different penguins for holidays and different seasons. And so what we did before, let me show you this, since the bottom is printing and it hasn't finished yet. I did a version of our stuck Santa. This is what it looks like when it's all finished. I did a version of this where we have a penguin that we can put right here in this little indent. I made the indent. Now I have a version 2 that doesn't have the indent, so if people want just Santa, that's fine. But I'm thinking of doing the same for the house. We'll do two different bases for the house that allows you to, you know, put a penguin in the snow. Elf or Santa or otherwise. Like I said, we have plenty of penguins. So... now, do we put him by the front door? Or do we put him maybe in front of a window off to the side? Kind of like that. I mean, I could put him on the corner here too. But it looks like this is where we'd have the most room for him. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and grab our penguin. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to add to scene from another existing scene or model. So I'm going to need to go to my penguins. We're just going to grab our base penguin here. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. We don't need the backdrop. And for that matter, we don't need all of the lights. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the camera and the view. There we go. Penguin. Alright, so there's our penguin. He's kind of big. That's alright. We'll fix that. Shrink him down. That's a little too small. And we'll drop him down here in front of the house. Now by default, I print these penguins at 65 millimeters in height. So I want to take that into account. Need to learn to do the backdrop also. To do a sweep, do a photo sweep, yeah, that's easy. I can show you how to do that. All right, let's look at it from the front. We're going to drop him into the snow right there. And let's see, I've got all these things on this penguin that I really don't need, so let's the stuff that we don't need. We just need the penguin. And actually, what I really need is just his lower body half, but I'm keeping everything here. I'm going to pin this open so we don't lose it. All right. Let's go ahead and look at our scale again. Oh, did you like the sport removing video? Good, thank you. Yeah, that video was a little more work to accomplish. All right. Yeah, and I will, I don't have the train down here. I have a copy of it upstairs, so I'll grab it real quick before I sign off. So those of you that are interested in seeing the train that Vision 3D is speaking of can see it. But it's a pretty involved model. 4 cars, straight track, curved track, all links together. And I'm pretty pleased with it. All right, I think this is a good spot for our penguin. I am going to pull this geometry out a little bit. All right, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to grab my move tool. And then I'm going to turn on silhouette. Increase the size of the brush. I just want to give him a little extra leg room. And then we'll do the same for the snow. There we go. Looks good. All right. Brian Sigma, this is Nomad Sculpt running on an iPad Pro. It is available for Android as well, and they just came out with a desktop version as well. All right, so we're going to need to create an indent for our penguin. First thing, though, I'm going to do is I'm going to build up the snow a little bit around him. Just a little bit. No, this is not CAD. This is Nomad Sculpt. $20 off the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. $35 for the desktop version. Can't beat it. All right, so now that I've got my penguin scaled, I only need the lower body piece. So I am going to select everything except for the lower body piece. Actually, I'm going to move the lower body piece outside of the penguin, and then we'll just delete the rest of it. Actually, I won't delete it because we want to look at it later. So let me grab it again. I'm going to move the lower body piece back in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone it so I can place this penguin back in there when we're all done. Hide it, and now just work with the one that's visible. Move the lower body part out. Delete the rest of him. And then this is what we will use for our Boolean. Yes, I did create all of this. I'm going to switch into matcap mode. And what we're going to do is we are going to take this penguin. I'm going to go into X-ray mode as well. And we are going to use our inflate tool to make his feet and lower body a little bit bigger. Okay. Then I'm going to come over here. We're going to remesh this down to about 350. And then we're going to smooth it. And then, as if that wasn't enough, we are now going to mask the bottom. I'm going to solo this item because this is the only part that we're working on right now. Grab my selection tool, mask selection, and we're going to mask the bottom portion of his feet. And then we will flip that mask because we're going to pull those feet down like this. Okay, so there's what we've got. Let's go ahead and get rid of our mask. I'm going to mesh it a little bit more and then smooth it a little bit more. Okay, that's enough. And now I'll turn off I'll keep X-ray on. Now what I want to do actually is I want to... Actually, I think we'll be good right there. We've got enough of this sticking up. It's going to... So we inflated the lower body, and what that's allowing us to do now is to use this as a boolean to carve out an area in our snow for the penguin to sit in. And I think we should be good. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and hide this. This becomes our boolean. And actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to save this as gingerbread house with penguin. Okay. All right. Go back here. So we've hidden our boolean, and now we want the snow, wherever that is. Okay, I'm going to call this snow. We'll call it base snow. All right. We got to do a lot of jumping around here because we have a lot of pieces that make up our model. So I'm going to come back down here again to lower body, make sure it's selected, keep it hidden, and then we'll go up here to base snow and select that as well. And now when I do boolean, it's going to cut out the hidden piece. Oh, it failed. That is literally the first time that's ever happened. Oh, you know what? Lower body. Okay, it's multiple objects. No, it's not. Huh. All right, let's lower the resolution of our... All right, I'm going to make sure everything is deselected there. All right, so lower body. Again, we'll hide it. And then we'll come back up to our snow. I went back too far in time. There we go. So what we've done now is we've cut out a hole in our snow. Now, much to my own disappointment, we went a little deep, and actually this edge, there's too much cavity here and too much overhang, so that's actually going to prevent us from putting our penguin in. So what we need to do is we need to stretch our boolean a little bit. So, and we need to raise it up above the base of our snow. Let me grab this here. I'm going to turn it back on so we can see it. Okay. I'm going to go back to turntable because this is moving around way too much. All right. So you can see here where the feet cut into the bottom of our snow. All right. So this guy's got to raise up, first of all. And I think, actually, I'm going to go back a couple more steps to where we had it masked. And we stretched out that bottom. And I'm going to stretch it out even more. Okay. Now, yeah, that's much better. The only problem is it didn't grab the back of our feet here. All right, good thing we flipped that around there and saw that. So we need to redo that. I'm not sure why. I think my mask selection tool must not have been set to go. Let's grab it again real quick. Let's go here, mask selection. I'm going to go here. And I want it to go all the way through the model. Huh. Filter, front face. There we go. Sorry. Nomad has just recently updated, so it's a little different. So that's the reason I'm running into some issues here. All right, so we have still inflated our lower body portion. I am going to, again, gosh, my touch is just a little off today. All right, we're going to grab again our mask selection tool. Using the rectangle, we're going to do the lower half of the feet, or the lower body, and then we'll flip it. Whoop. And we'll just hit the invert button. It's just as easy. And then pull that bottom down. Now hopefully it should have gone all the way through. Yeah, that time it did. Alright, that's what we want. Okay, now we'll go ahead and clear the mask. Run our smooth operation again. Smooth that out a little bit. That should be good. And now we'll use this as our boolean to cut out this snow. Alright. It looks like we've got good placement. I'm going to close that. We don't need it anymore. Yeah, that's good position. He'll stand on top of the snow now. Just a little bit indented in, which is what we wanted. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And this is still box extension. Alright. Let's do our boolean. And there we go. Now we have a cutout for our penguin. And it looks like... Alright, we need to go up even higher because this snow, or the base, is... Now what I could do, actually, you know what, let's do this. Let's go... I'm going to turn the lower body on again. And then we're going to grab the base. I'm going to just push this geometry down a little bit underneath him for the base itself. See that go away? See where it's intersecting? You can kind of see the shadow of it. So again, if I just push here gently with a big brush, just push it down a little bit so we don't cut into the bottom of that snow. And the base doesn't come up through the snow. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and hide it. Go back to our snow, boolean, and there you go. Yeah, it's going to be a little rough, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and clean it up. Pump the resolution up here kind of high. And then we'll grab our smooth tool. And we'll just come around here and smooth these edges. Again, the idea here is that the penguin sits comfortably in this little slot that we've made for him. I need to turn the trackball back on. And this also makes for a little bit more of an efficient print for your printer because you don't have all those sharp edges. It'll print faster too. Smooth rounded edges print faster than a sharp edge because on a sharp edge, printer has to slow down to make the corner. Don't know if you knew that or not. Alright, so there we go. That's where our penguin stands. Now we're going to go grab our penguin, the one that we hid. And we're going to unhide him. And actually, I'm going to just group him as one object so it's easier to move him around. And then I'm going to place him where he would normally stand, probably right about there. And we'll turn X-ray off. And you can see now we've made a little indent in our snow for the penguin. And that's where he'll stand. That will be his station. And now we delete him. Bye-bye, penguin. One last thing that you'll have to do is on your, whatever your Boolean color was, is the color that will be left on your object. And the easy way to get rid of that is just repaint. Just repaint this portion here. Let's see. What layer did I paint on? Was it on the gumdrop holes? I'll bet you. Yep, there it is. Alright, so now it's all white. What printer I have? I have 3 Carbon X1s, the Bamboo Labs printer. I have an H2D, which is currently printing the top half of our bottom half of our stuck Santa. And I have a Creality K2 Plus. I need to start using layers. Yeah. Excuse me. I don't use layers as much as I should. In fact, yeah, I really should use them more. In fact, what I should have done was I should have duplicated this snow, because now, in order to get one without the penguin in it, I'm going to have to create or go back and import from the other scene. Tell you what, let's save this real quick. And then I want to open... Oh, gosh. Holiday. Gingerbread House 4. That's before we modified that. I wasn't thinking. We should have probably... I should have probably gone ahead and made 2 copies of the snow. Fortunately, I can fill in the hole in the other ones and then just make that the snow without the penguin. We'll just do that, because I don't feel like doing the penguin thing again. All right, let's make an M&M style candy. That's going to be real easy. I'm going to lock this into turntable again. Let's see, real easy. Real easy way to do something like that would literally be just to take a sphere and squish it. There you go. Instant M&Ms. Just squish it like it owes you money. And fat it up a little bit. Skittles, M&Ms, you know, whatever you like. I'm personally an M&M's fan. And I think we'll put a few of these on the roof. So let's scale this down. Now remember, your roof is going to print flat because we did that hinge, all right, in the center. So that's the reason I didn't want to do gumdrops, because gumdrops will be sticking out this way. All right, and with these little M&M guys, they can just go wherever you want, at whatever attitude you want, because they've got a low profile. They're kind of like an M&M. M&M in disguise. It's got a low profile. All right, I'm going to turn snap on. I'm going to set the snap to 2 degrees. And then that way I can control what the angle is that I'm putting these at. And just embed it in the roof. Like so. And we can turn the grid off. Don't need that now. Let's put it in even more. I'm going to switch into paint. And let's give that some color. Let's go, let's make it red. There'll be other colors. In fact, we've got, I'll tell you what, let's clone it. Move its brother over here. Paint him green. I'm just sampling colors that are already on the model. Now the question is, how many M&Ms do I want to put on the roof? We could have used an array repeater or a curve repeater, but we're at an angle here, and I just didn't feel like I can do it just as easily this way. I didn't feel like going and getting crazy with the repeaters. Always work in odd numbers. That makes composition easier. Yeah, it's not that I'm not good at it, I just didn't feel like messing with it. All right, I'm going to lock my view. And now we're just going to slide these around until we get them positioned the way that we want. And plus, I think it's it's good to show people different techniques so nobody gets locked into, oh, the way that I do it or the way that this other person does it is the right way. It's like, no, there's multiple ways to do things. It's whatever way you're comfortable with and gives you the results you're looking for. So that's the important thing. Are you happy with the way it looks? Good. Then let's move on. All right, I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do a yellow one. It's kind of a muddy yellow. Let's try again. Let's see, so we got green, and we'll do this one green here too. There we go. So we got some gumdrops here. Now what I could do is grab all these, it's not gumdrops, what are they? They're M&Ms. So I could grab all of these and I could say join. So now we got M&Ms. I'll just call them candies. We don't want to get in any trouble with M&Ms. And then what we could do is we could apply a mirror. So now the candies on one side of our roof pop up on the other side. And as long as we work within this mirror, now we can do candies up the side of the roof as well if we want to. So if I grab this here, and actually we need to separate these now. So this is, there it is. So I can clone this guy here and move him up the side of the roof. And you'll see that we have one over here too. So we clone it again, and we continue pushing them up the side. They're getting a little bit further into the roof. That's because this roof isn't a perfect roof. So I'll just grab it and pull it back to the surface a little bit on each one of these. Okay, we'll clone that one again. And I think if I pull this one up here again, I don't want to get it too close to the hinge because I don't want to affect the functionality of that hinge. I think 5 is a good number here, so I'm going to pull these here and put another one in the center, like so. And we'll pull it up. Lock my view. Turn on X-ray. And when you're working in divisions or when you're working in odd numbers, you put the middle one in the center, and then it's easier to line the other ones up. And get them positioned. Okay. Let's turn X-ray off. All right, let's give these guys some color, shall we? I'm going to go red. And then this one will be yellow. And then that'll be green. No, that'll be red. There we go. We got our candies on the roof. So let's go ahead and grab these candies that we made, our second batch, and we're going to put them over there. All right, so we got that one, that one, that one, and that one. Nope, we don't need that one. We just need these. There we go, these 4. Now, I'm going to add another mirror. But I'm going to mirror it on the z-axis. And now I popped them to the back of the roof. Just like that. So I took a mirror of a mirror and mirrored it once again. Now some would say they're a little off. And they would be right. So let's see if we can adjust that. There we go. The candy centerpiece. That was a little bit of an advanced modeling technique using the gizmo and a blurred surface mask. I can walk you through it if you like. Give me a second here. Now I think what we'll do now, we're getting close, but I feel like I still want to do something here on this roof. And we need to work a little bit with our snow and the inflate tool. Oop, wrong way. To build up a little bit around our candies. So let's do that real quick as long as we're thinking about it. Now, do you have to do this? No, you don't. Does it add to the realism? Yes, that's why I do it. Okay, grab that smooth tool, just run it over there a little bit so we don't have any harsh angles on our snow. Okay, same thing for the other side. Because the snow is not symmetrical, and we have to work on both sides individually. Okay, grab our smooth tool. All right, there we go. So we've got some candies on the roof. Still feel like this needs something. I'm not sure what yet. Rube Dog. Hey there. First time seeing this. How are you? And could you explain Nomad? Well, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Hope you're doing well as well. And can I explain Nomad? Let's see. How would I explain it? Very quickly. Okay, where'd my penguin... Did I move to the wrong one? I'm going to have to redo my penguin imprints, aren't I? Okay. Well, anyway, you saw how we're going to do it. Now I'm going to do it myself, but I won't... I'll do it again, but I'm not going to do it now, because that's going to be a little too much... take a little too much time right now. Can I explain Nomad? It is a 3D sculpting program. It is nothing like Blender. The learning curve on this is much shallower compared to Blender and ZBrush. And I've been working with it six months. I've been 3D modeling for about 30 years, 30 plus years. And it's very user friendly. It does have a lot of power, so if you know what you're doing, you can get a lot out of it. And even if you don't know what you're doing, it's very easy to start with. And taking some basic shapes and, and modeling, just creating something even with basic primitives. So yeah, hopefully that explains it. But Blender, no, I think Blender and ZBrush have incredibly steep learning curves. And I don't discourage people from using them, but I would say if you're just getting started out, and this is only $20, so if you're just getting started out, this is definitely the way to go. And you are most welcome. All right, so you know what I said earlier about continuing the gumdrops around here, although we're putting the penguin over here, so maybe I just do like a single gumdrop in front, like right in here. Can I move one gumdrop out of here? Absolutely not. It's going to bring the whole family. All right, that's fine. So then what I need to do is let's go back here to our gumdrop curve. And let's go ahead and validate it. Although I don't feel like I really want to do that yet, just in case I want to shift things around. So I'm going to go ahead and clone this here. Where is it? It's right here. And we'll just, I only need a couple of more gumdrops, and I don't feel like doing another whole array. So let's just do this. I'm going to pull this out here like this. And I'll pull the gumdrop off of there, get rid of the curve. And now I just have a solo gumdrop I can do whatever I want with. Boom. And that is the sound gumdrops make when they hit ground. Boom. Especially if they're heavy. You bet. Glad to help. Alright, so I'm going to shift back into turntable. Lock that view down. Yeah, let's just give it a little bit of a tilt. And then we'll clone it. Stick his brother over here. And I've pushed him into the icing a little bit. And that's okay. I was thinking of making the door movable, like I did with the caboose, the doors on the caboose on our train, but I don't think I'm going to do that now. All right, this is pretty close to done, except like I said, I think I still want to do some kind of treatment on the surface texture, give it some kind of a texture, and I think I want to do some more filigree around these windows. Let's play around with that a little bit. And we need to color our gumdrops. Now I think if I color one, yeah, it colors them all, which that's not what we want. So looks like we are going to have to actually validate this. Alright, let's go ahead and validate it. I am going to uninstance because I want to be able to color them as individual gumdrops. So there we go. There's the back row. I'm going to call this back row. And let's see, we'll do the same thing here. Validate, uninstance. Because if you keep them as instances, it will paint and modify the geometry of each of them as one. Which is great if you want that to happen, but not if you don't. Alright, these are the gumdrops on the left side. And this will be the gumdrops on the right side. Uninstance. Okay. We don't need to pin this open. So now we can go ahead and color our gumdrops as individuals. So since we started with green here, I'm going to start with yellow. And then I think we'll do red. I will pin this open actually so it goes a little quicker. And then this will be green. Now you know you can save your colors, right? So if you punch this color here and I do new, and I'll do the same thing here. Punch the color, name it new, and you can change the name of it if you want. It's up to you. But now instead of sampling the colors, I can just come in here and grab the color that I want, which would be yellow, and paint it. And I'm going to try to just do every other one here. And just see where it falls. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and paint all of the red ones first. Yep. Doesn't matter what color we wind up with, just as long as they follow the every other. All right. There's our. This will be our green. And then, of course, the rest of them will be yellow. Okay. And then our front gumdrops, I think we'll do a red. No, we'll do a yellow and a green one. Because we've got red on the door. There we go. All right. Let's see how we're looking now. So we've got our candy canes, we've got our gumdrops. What else do they put? I think we need more frosting on the side of our house. And like I said, I think we might try to do like a scalloped frosting on the roof. Let's give it a whirl and see what we got. I'm going to switch into matte cap mode. I'll try to get as straight on as I can. And then we'll lock it down. That way the view doesn't move on us. And I'm going to go X-ray so I can still see everything. And now I'm going to use something that's called a lazy rope stabilizer on my brush. So here's my brush, right? I can do that all day long. And keep the intensity at 100. I'm going to come over here and go to stroke and turn my lazy rope stabilizer up to about 40. What time is it? I've got about 5 more minutes before I got to hit the road. All right, so this is where our snow starts. We're going to be underneath the snow, or at least connect to the snow. And I'm thinking so what the lazy rope stabilizer does is it drags behind a little bit, allowing you to make curves much easier. Now I want this to look like it was done by hand. Otherwise I could do a stamp and then put it in there with the stamp and do each row and just offset it. Again, we could do it that way, but I want to do it manually. Whoop. So we're going to go ahead and see how this comes out. Yeah, I'm not liking that already. Need to start a little higher. I think if we do it by hand, it'll give more of a hand frosted look. Come down here a little lower and do the next set of scallops. Now, if you want to undo a mistake, you can just go back and erase it. Or, what would probably be better is to do each scallop one at a time, and then that way if you wanted to undo something, you could just undo one. So I'm going to do that. One. Lift your pen. Start over. Is this freehanding? Yes, I'm just freehanding. I'm trying to get a hand frosted look with our icing. Okay. And let's see, we're going to have one come up here. All right. Put a little icing there. See, that's a little low, or a little high, so I just undo that one stroke. And now I don't have to undo the whole row. Yeah, that stinks. Let's do it again. Alright, we're getting there, folks. The payoff is coming. Alright, there we go. We're going to come up here. Come up here like that. And then for our last set, most of it's going to be hidden because it's either going to be under gumdrops or under snow that already exists. There we go. All right, so there's our first set of scallops. Let's go ahead and hit our mask extraction. And we'll turn X-ray off. It's a little tall. I don't want it to come over the top of our snow, so let's drop it down a little bit. Use the lazy rope stabilizer. I'll show you on the other side. All right, I'm going to smooth the daylights out of this. I think that'll work. Now, something else that I can do is I can blur this mask a little bit too. So we're going to do that. I'm going to blur it. And then that should round our stroke a little bit more. There we go. Looks like it was hand applied. At least I think it does. I'm going to hit extract so we've got actual geometry, and then we'll clear the mask. And because I like to see the results of my labor, we're going to go ahead and paint it. There we go. Got a little bit of icing on our roof. Yeah, I like that. That gives it the, I think that completes the roof. All right, let's do the other side, shall we? Okay, I'm going to tilt it up again. Let's see, we're still in the turntable. All right, I'm going to go there. I'm going to get it centered up, and then we'll unlock it, and we'll just grab the side here. Again, try to get it as close to us in parallax as we can. And then we're going to hit X-ray, because we just want to work on this part here. Oh, we're going to switch off the paint. All right. Now I'm going to unlock here because I need to remind myself we had 1, 2, 3, 4, roughly 5, 4.5, 5 scallops. All right. Okay. There we go. All right, so the tool again, or the modifier, is up here under your brush tool. If you have your mask tool selected, you come in here under stroke, and down here we have lazy rope stabilizer. If it's down to 0, then it just follows whatever you do. If you set it up, I usually do anywhere from 40 to 50. Now, the stroke will trail your hand motion a little bit, and you can steer it a little better and make smoother curves. Thank you. Now the challenge is going to be getting it to look the same on both sides. How many rows did I wind up having? Let's see. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, roughly 4 to 5 scallops per row. Okay, so let's see if we can do this again. Bring it up here. Okay, stabilizer is on. Yep. Yeah, we could mirror it, but I'm trying it this way first because I want to see if I can get a hand frosted look to it. I want there to be irregularity. I want it to be asymmetrical. You can tell when I'm concentrating. I don't talk too much. All right, getting close to the end here. Last row. Twisted, how are you? Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? How was your holiday? All right, so there we go. There is our frosting. Let's blur that just a little bit. Or icing, I should say. And then we'll head up here. Turn X-ray off. There we go. Let's compare it to the other side. I think it's close enough. All right, and it retained the settings from our last mask extraction, which is nice. So all we need to do now is hit extract, and let's get rid of the mask underneath it. And again, paint it so we can see the fruits of our labor. Thank you, firm. Appreciate that. All right, so we've got icing on the roof. We've got our Skittles or M&Ms, whatever you prefer. Got our gumdrops along the base, candy canes on the corners. And as I said before, I think I want to just do a little more filigree around our window and whatnot here. So give me a second here. I need to take a quick drink. Okay. All right. I am going to have to go here soon, but I don't want to leave you without the filigree. And I will cut the penguin in later like we did earlier, and then call this done and get my models uploaded to my mini factory, because that's what we got to do. And now my model doesn't seem to be responding to selection, which tells me that something has possibly happened. Let's see if we can save this guy. All right, it says it's saved. We'll save it again. Then we're going to save as. It's not. I'm wondering, you know what we need to do? We need to firm, yes, we will be printing this. We need to restart TikTok and see if it. No, it saved everything. Okay. Not sure why it wasn't highlighting things. All right. Yes, we will be printing this. On the printer right now is our Stuck Santa. This is the top. It's a container. Stick it on top of the bottom part, and then you have a container, and it's Santa stuck in a chimney. Poor guy. And we've got a whole bunch of other holiday stuff that we've done that I'm going to be uploading, hopefully this evening. Let's see, it's 3. Hold on just a second. I need to do some math. It's 3:40. 20 puts me at 4. We got time. We can go till 4. Okay, so. Oh, Cookie Monster. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is Nomad Sculpt running on an iPad Pro. It runs great on other devices. Just so you all know, pretty excited about this. I just bought the desktop version, and I got a Wacom Cintiq 24 multi-touch for my birthday, and I will be setting that up. I actually set it up, and it works wonderfully. I just have to incorporate it into my studio here because I'm a little limited on space at the moment until I change things up, so I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to sculpt with that thing on my desk. And then we'll be sculpting. On that monster. All right. Let's see if we can create some more filigree here. I'm going to continue to use my lazy rope stabilizer, so I'll turn this on. Yeah, that reset itself, so that tells me that we were about to experience a crash in Nomad. And I'm going to turn symmetry on, so now everything I do here will show up over here. And we're just going to... I'm not a filigree expert. The desktop version is much more powerful, because while this is powerful in and of itself, no complaints, the desktop version will be running on my new MacBook Pro, and that's running an M4 Max chip. M4 Max, I'm sorry, M4 Pro Max chip. I think that's what it's called. Anyway, yeah, I've already kind of played around with it a little bit, and it seems to be wildly powerful. All right, so this again, using our lazy rope stabilizer, we can create some more filigree here. And again, there's no rhyme or reason. No. Yes, there is a desktop version. If you go to Nomad Sculpt, let me double check that for you real quick before I give you wrong info. Hold on. Because it used to be under on a beta page, and yeah. Now, if you just go to nomadsculpt.com, it's right on their homepage. You can still get the iPad, the tablet versions in their respective stores, but now Nomad is set up for Mac and PC on the desktop. Yes, $35. You know what, Vision? I wouldn't say that it's not. This actually, I was using this before I got before I upgraded my iPad this spring. I was using this on an iPad that was from 22, an iPad Pro, and it worked just fine. The problem was after I was doing live streaming, you know, anywhere from 4 to 6 hours at a time, and that kind of, you know, made it overheat a little bit, which again wasn't a terrible thing. But I thought, you know, I like to resell my used equipment, and I thought I better just upgrade and sell this before I before I destroy it from heat. Yeah, you know, you use what you got or what you're used to. I mean, there is no right or wrong. I'm actually going to turn the lazy rope stabilizer down to about 20, mid-20s here and try that. So what I was going to tell you a minute ago, sometimes people they like to work with their mask tool set to mask. Sometimes I like to flip the script and tap my piece, mask the entire piece, and then unmask with my mask tool set to unmask. So, all right, we've got symmetry turned on. This is not perfectly symmetrical, so we'll try to accommodate to account for that. And again, I am not a filigree expert. So I may or may not like what I'm doing. And if I don't, we'll do it again. Now, when I do dots, I'll turn the stabilizer off because typically I'm not going to mess up dots. I wouldn't say never, but... And again, remember, what's the best resource? There are a lot of people doing tutorials on YouTube. I have been asked graciously by my community to start producing more tutorials, and I am working on a plan for that. But you can show up here too. I'm out here at least once a week. If you're lucky and I have a light week, which this week would be one of those light weeks, I'll be back tomorrow. And because I love sculpting and I love going live with you guys, I'll probably be back Thursday and Friday too in the afternoon. So you should be able to pick up a lot here with me. Ask Vision. I have stopped my sculpts in mid-sculpt to do a quick tutorial to answer some questions. So, and I have been, like I said, I've been asked by people to create tutorials, to do private training. So I'm trying to satisfy that desire, that need, if you will, and come up with a program that I can run through my Patreon. You betcha. Hey, that's what we're here for. We're here to pass on the knowledge. At least that's what I'm here for. Pass on the knowledge that I have gained. Okay, so let's see. What else do we want to do? I'm not really loving this, but I want to show the technique, so we'll just continue on. I'll probably rework this tonight. Now, here's the cool thing, and here's the reason why I'll be able to rework this later. Because everything that I am doing right now is to create new geometry. Okay? That's the reason that we're using the mask. This is an iPad. User 2576. This is an iPad Pro. I don't know how it runs on a regular iPad. I don't have a regular iPad, so I can't test it, and I haven't really done the research. So I can't tell you that. All right, so here's a little bit of a filigree treatment around our window. If we do another dot out here. Whoop. Do a little dot here. You could just do this all day long. Yeah, do another dot here. Okay, now we get to turn this into actual geometry. Oh, dude, we should put a heart right here, right? It's kind of the Wigglebuds trademark. All right, so here we go. I'm going to flip my mask now by tapping outside, because it's the mask itself that we'll be using to create the new geometry. It didn't do it on the back. Okay, good. Because I really didn't want it to. Go up here to our mask settings, and I'm going to turn X-ray off, and now you can see, I'm going to pin this window open so it stays. Let's blur our mask a little bit, and then I'm going to drop the smoothing so it doesn't round the edges quite so much. All right. Yeah, I'll probably redo all the filigree because it's probably a good idea, not probably, it is a good idea to do them all at once so all of your frosting is roughly at the same height. But that's the concept. Now if I hit extract, I'll slip back into paint mode, and we'll go ahead and paint that, and then remove the mask, and there you can see we've got instant icing filigree decoration. So I'm still struggling with whether or not I'm going to do a chimney. Again, this roof is hinged, so when the roof is printing, it prints flat, and then it's hinged, so it obviously can be matched to the V of the house itself. But when it prints flat, that chimney that normally would be vertical now will be printing at an angle. And again, I'm not sure that is a terrible thing. I'm going to make a decision on that tonight, but I think it looks fine without the chimney. Another thing that I could do is I could create a chimney to sit on top of the hinge once this is all printed, so it would print. It will print separate. Will you allow for a light inside? You know what? You can. So what I would do in that case, there's a couple of ways you could handle that. I could either do a version of this where it doesn't have the window shape, right? So if I hit hide on that, the window goes away. Or what you could do when you're printing this is you could swap out this black for like a translucent PETG or even PLA for that matter. And so then it'll have a frosted look when it prints, and then when you put a light inside of it, the light will glow through the window. That's probably what I would do. Because if you open the windows up, I mean, you could paste, acetate or something inside of it, but why not just let the printer do the work for you, right? So, all right. Well, I've got a couple more things I need to do to this. What time is it? We got about 5 more minutes. Anybody got any questions, either about this that we've made or something completely unrelated? Yes, I'm going to do filigree on the sides and everything. I can't wait to print this out. I'm going to be honest. I want to get it uploaded though. It's terribly important that I get these things uploaded because I've got some people out there that actually want to see and print what we've made. So I need to get that done. Actually, on that note, let me go grab the Holiday Express, our Christmas train that we just wrapped up. I'm going to push this back a little bit. Let you see my messy desk. Okay. Is showing the hinge work too long? No, I can give you a quick tour of the hinge. I'm not going to remake or do a hinge, but I'll give you a quick tour of it so you can, and then kind of talk you through it so you can see how I did it. All right, be right back. Train's upstairs. Be a couple minutes getting it. Okay. Get out of there, Pepper. Hey, get out of there right now. Come back here and get in your bed. You gotta behave yourself. All right, sorry about that. We lost our screen here. All right, so excuse me. I'll show you the model first. So, let's see. Did we save this? Let me save it again real quick. All right. So here is the engine. This is our Holiday Express engine. Excuse me. And this is the actual print. Roof comes off. Again, part of that non-CAD functional sculpting. The cow catcher prints as a separate item, and then we set up a click, a snap connector, so you could print it separately and then snap it on the front of the engine. The wheels are printed separately as well. Engineered a snap fit connector here that will click into the axle and hold the wheels on. And then we've got a Janny coupler here, which is an actual design, a design from an actual train coupler. This is how they hook the cars together. Mine doesn't function exactly like a Janny coupler, but it still, it still works. All right, so that's the engine. And let's see. Then we have the coal tender. That's this guy here. All right, and then that's this. This is the actual print. Again, same thing. Wheels clip on, so the wheels move. And I did do an interlocking track pieces. So this will sit on the tracks and roll. This is the curved piece. I gave away all my straight pieces to the stores that have a copy of the train, so I need to print out some more straight pieces because this is my wife's train, and I can't get rid of this or I'll get in trouble. This is a flat car. Again, couplers on either end, wheels snapping into place, and ready to take passengers along for a little ride. And then last but not least is our caboose. Every train needs a caboose. So again, we got snow on it. The roof of the caboose is removable, so you can get in there and put candy in there or other toys if kids want to play with it or whatever. And the doors are also functional. There's another hinged example of doors. Print in place. So these were not assembled. These were actually printed right on the printer that way. And they function right out of the gate. Again, both doors open and close. The green, it's an Amazon. It's just an Amazon green. I can get you the brand. I don't remember exactly. Tell you what, shoot me a DM and I'll let you know what the brand is because I have to look it up. Actually, you know what? I could probably do it off the side. Hold on. Amazon. Yeah, I'm still signed in. Hold on. The green was... Gotta go back. We order a lot of stuff off of Amazon, so... Where is it? You know what, if you shoot me... Oh, there it is. No, it's... Okay, it's HP3DF PLA filament silk. You might want to write that down. HP3DF. That's the manufacturer or the name. HP3DF. And it's a silk green. It's the only green that they have. HP3DF. What was the question? Artistic brain. Yep, thank you. Let's see. How does the print in place work in the model? So you use X-ray. So when you turn on X-ray, I'll tell you what. Let's open the. Yikes! My desk is full of plastic here now. Oop. And I'm just throwing train cars around like nobody's business. All right, let me open the caboose, because that's the one where we're talking about the doors. So here's your caboose model. If I turn on X-ray and I select the door, you can see here the clearances that I've built into the door and the hinges that attach to the actual caboose walls themselves. And then if I select that part, you can come inside here and hi, Pep. And there's the hinge portion that attaches to the inside of the wall. So yes, the X-ray, and then I don't work in paint mode. I usually work in matte cap, which allows me to see everything with equal lighting. So, well, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's good enough, right? It does the job, lets everything function like it should. So, and then the same thing with the Janny couplers. I built in, a pin, and then the appropriate clearance around the pin, so everything prints in place. And just a little tweak when you get the supports off, and it pops free and then swings without any issues. It's kind of like the articulated dragons minus the dragon. Just the joint. So there you go. And then, of course, we put the paint on it. Still learning hinges. A few test prints with different styles. Yep. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, if you build enough clearances in there, I mean, I really haven't found anything so far that... this is Nomad Sculpt. Coming from, and again, I'm not an engineer. No pun intended on the whole train thing. I'm not an engineer, but, I've done enough printing in 3D. And that's the thing, I've talked to a couple of people about my models, and, I say the advantage that you have working with someone like myself. No, this is Nomad Sculpt. running on an iPad. Runs on Android as well. Is it like SolidWorks? I would probably say no. SolidWorks, if I'm not mistaken, is more of a CAD program for manufacturing, and I'm using it in a CAD manner, but I've also worked with CAD before, so I kind of know what to or not to do. Anyway, I feel like I'm saying a lot here, and I apologize. I'm trying to answer everybody's questions and walk myself through my thought processes here. So, all right. Well, anyway, yes, it is very therapeutic, and art skills. I do have an advantage there. I am an artist. But what I was saying before is I have a lot of experience when it comes to 3D printing. I've been 3D printing about 13 years, and I know about thermal expansion. I know about, bridging and things like that, that when you take those things into account when you're designing things like these doors, and the couplers and the wheels and everything, and making, here's the snap fit. I designed this wheel cover / keeper a couple of different ways before I finally hit the way that worked. So everything doesn't come out 100% right the first time, even with me, but if you do it enough, you learn what works and what doesn't work, and then you can apply it going forward. So, but on that note, folks, I do have to get going because I got some errands to run, and I think my doggos need to go out. So I hope everybody had fun. I hope this was therapeutic, informational, entertaining, and all that. Like I said, if you got questions, don't hesitate to hit me up. I'm usually here every Wednesday and other days as my schedule permits. And tonight, hopefully, I will be out tomorrow morning, back on here in force. Hopefully, if I get my models all set to upload on my mini factory, so I can finally release my holiday collection. So much to do, only one person to do it. That's me. I got to do the marketing, I do the content, I do the creation, I do the, Anyway, so... so hopefully everybody has a good rest of your day. Get out, touch some grass or snow, depending on where you live. We got a foot of snow on the ground here, so I'm going to go touch some snow and have a good day. And like I said, I'll be back tomorrow, probably closer to morning tomorrow. Like I said, I'm gonna hustle on the model upload and hopefully get that all done tonight. But we'll see what the wife has planned. You never know. She might have other ideas. So sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. All right. But anyway, everybody have a good one. And I will talk to you hopefully tomorrow. Like I said, my normal sculpt time. And then, of course, we'll do our best to be back here for a little bit on Thursday and Friday as well. What I was going to say earlier, obviously all the normal stuff. We have our profile, follow us, whatever else. We've got links here in our profile, so if you want to follow us on other social medias, although this is where I spend the majority of my time. I upload videos to YouTube, YouTube, Instagram, and here. And I'm also on Kick. I'm streaming on Kick. I don't know if anybody gets out there or not, but we'll be adding some more stuff in here too. And then again, as I said earlier, I know some people have expressed interest in some kind of formal training program. Which I am more than qualified to provide. It's just the amount of time that I have in my day is what's going to dictate, and the demand for it. So if it's something you're interested in, I'm going to build a list, and I might even put something out on Discord and by way of a poll. So if you're not on our Discord, again, that's free. That's the third link down, at least right now. Just click on that, go join our Discord, and there's different ways to get in touch with me. So again, if you want to see more formalized training, paid, unpaid, obviously I'm doing free stuff here all the time. This is an iPad Pro. Just bought it in the spring. It's a newer one. Yeah, group learning I think might be the best approach. But I got people like, I'll pay you for private training. It's like, well, how about if you pay me a little less and we just train everybody together? Because it would be nice to be able to support myself doing this as well. So. All right. On that note, I definitely got to go. Everybody have a good day, and hope to see you back here tomorrow. Take care.